In this video tutorial for the estate assignments, we're going to start out by giving you an overview of the utility items, navigation, do action, why we have an add new record button, and the assignment ID, and then a little basic information about how to navigate and add data. Let's start out by talking about the records in here. First of all, as you add records by adding a new add new record by tapping that button. And by the way, I'm using a desktop simulator, so we have a cursor on the screen. Normally on the iPad you would be doing touch, where you can touch the screen and use touch gestures to expand or contract the screen and do all the things like double tapping or triple tapping on the screen to expand or contract it. In the desktop version, you would use all the navigation using a cursor. I use the cursor because it allows me to show you things specifically without having to explain and then you not know where I'm actually at on the screen. So let's go through and look at this. The estate assignment is the primary screen used in the application to add, input, and manage data. What that basically means is that when you create a new record in this screen, it is also going to provide you with the information that you need for one record in a numerical sequence. So if I add a new one, it's going to go record 1, record 2, and so forth. So you can have any number of estate owners with their estate information, and each time you click a new record, that gives you another estate owner that you can manage their data for. So in theory, what you can do here is you can have an estate for a family or multiple families or relatives or anybody that you want to create this for. They could add their own estate data in here and you could be the manager, or if you're the executor and you're actually doing stuff for people, this particular application differs from just doing something like a life estate or doing different paperwork and documents that you have to have in the case of like a will or a power of attorney. Those kind of things are done on a website typically, where you do a form and add all that data, and we're going to be covering that in this application. We're going to go out and actually look at different websites where this information is provided in detail, so you can know the legal aspects of it and all the things about forms and so forth. So let's talk a little bit about the next thing, which is the application navigation. This is the app navigation. When you look at this, you're going to note that there's the word portal by all of these different records here. Over here on this side, these screens, and the reason the navigation is different the way this works, is that this is the primary screen. And rather than send you to all these individual records and screens in here, and then having to have you do a search to find the specific one you're looking for, this particular record has all of its own private records for the owner and the executor for that estate that's going to do the executor work. Now, what happens, because it's numeralized by this number up here, all these records and screens that pop up here are going to create individual records in these screens. If you want to see the individual record portal, and we're going to show you how that's done, the individual record portal, you can click in here to see all of the estate banking records for all of the executor records and owners. I put test owner over here to make sure that you can see that it's a test record, and I added a new record. You would overwrite the data in here and put the name in for your actual owner and then move on beyond that. Any records that are over here that have a test record in them, you would replace the information in the first field and put your own data in there. So let's talk a little bit more about these are called popovers, but these are buttons that take you to different screens. A popover differs from a button that takes you to a portal, and I'm going to show you that next. Let's just take a sample looking at estate data for the assets. This is called a portal record, and they're individual records, and there may be a screen when you open this up where you only see one record based on the amount of data that has to be entered. If you want to see an individual record with that data in it, then you would click on the portal and it would take you to that portal record. Now when you look at this, you'll see that these are the different portals for the different estate things. We're going to show you later how you do a do action to find a particular record while you're sitting in the screen, either by its asset number or some data that is in the screen that will assist you in being able to find a particular piece of data. For in this case, if I wanted to find a certain type of an asset, I could start a find, by clicking this button. And what it'll do is it'll flip the screen and put a magnifying glass in here. And then if I type in something in there, like the word test, I'm going to show you, I don't even have to put the whole thing in here. I'm just going to say go. And what it's going to do, it's going to find that particular thing as far as that search was concerned. Now you cannot search for an image because there's nothing to search as far as a numeric or text information in order to open it and use it. But in this case, I could use a value. I could use anything that's in a large field like this, and all the records with that particular word in it then would come back. In this case, I have the word test. If I did a find right now and I said the word test, I might see more than one record. So if I click on here, I'm going to show you down here on the bottom, I can use this to navigate between the previous and next button, or I can go to the top of all the records, or I can click on this little guy right here, and what it does is it tells me that there's only one record in the found set and there's none omitted. So this is the first record of the records. If I had multiple records in here, it would allow me to see the multiple records, and it will show me that there would be a found set of X. Now if I did a find and it brought up one record, this would stay 1. The omitted ones, if I had multiple records, would show the omitted number. Say there was 10 and this is the 11th record, then 10 would be over here and the found set would be 1, and this would say the sequence of records, this would be 1 of 11. And then if I wanted to show all the records again and bring them all back up on the screen, I could say show all, or I can reverse this and say show the omitted and click on this. And then omit records, I would click omit records and it would say, do you want to omit a range or just this one record, number 1? I'd say cancel it, or if I don't want to do it, if I did, I would just let it omit the number 1 record. If it comes up where there are no records, it's going to come up. If you do a search and it's blank, it's going to give you a dialog that says there are no records that match the find set that you're looking for. So that's how this works, and this is how the button works. If you're looking at it, it says start the find, perform the find, show all, show hide, which shows and hides the menus, next record, prior record, first record, omit a record. Now these will cycle through the records, these here, and this one will go back to the first record. This, if you click it, will only show the omitted records, this omitted record, or it will omit a record, pardon me, and this one will show all the omitted records as opposed to all the records you had in a find. Now on the iPad or iPhone, you can export records, and on the cloud, if you're on the cloud version or the desktop version, you can export records. You cannot import records on the iPhone or iPad. You can print the record, but be aware when you're printing, you're only printing a certain amount of the screen, which is an 8.5 by 11 page. There are ways to, if the data is on the screen, to zoom up the information you're looking for and only do that particular information. For example, I could rotate the screen if I wanted to show a specific part and then go ahead and print it. Now, let's go ahead and go back to the main screen that we were just at, which is this, and you'll notice that when I look at that, it is a different color. It's like got a green band underneath of it. That's telling you that that is the primary screen, the one with the green band. Let's go back over here and you'll see this is the primary for adding records, and just so you know, you'll not see this in any other screen in the application. You only add records in this particular screen. This is the primary screen in the application. You'll notice that I put little gray headers in here to tell you what data has to go in here. Well, on the first screen and maybe some of the subsequent screens, these are shown only when you need them as a prompter to tell you how to add information. Okay, we also want to look at a different screen just to get some kind of an idea. I'll go to business and you'll see that this is a one particular record input. In order to see more data, you would have to scroll up, and as you scroll, you'll notice that it changes the active color. This is to help you identify that you're moving between records, and if you wanted to see what was in that record, again, you can click the portal to go to that record. Now, as we go through these records later on, we're in the pop-up screens and we're explaining all these popovers. I'm also going to explain how you do things with records that have, for example, a record that has an image in it. And there's some interesting things you can do with that. Now, one of the key things you need to understand is, and this is primary, you cannot do a find in the non-portal record in the popover. So you'll notice that I'm blinding out the buttons up here that allow you to click on the find, and you don't do finds in this record. If you want to do a find, you have to go to the portal record, which is each individual record, and it allows you to do a find from there. And like I said before, if you're using the add ID, you can get all the records for this owner, for the estate, or if you wanted to get multiple owners with something that had data in it that you're looking for specifically, you could go in and pick those fields, and it'll pull up as many records with as many different IDs as that record has in it in that field. Okay, if you have any questions or you're getting a little confused, you can easily contact us through our developer's website. And what you would do is go ahead and go to the page on the iTunes and click on developer's website, and that page would take you to our developer's website where you can use the chat, or you can ask questions by email, or you can browse the information that's on the actual application detail on the website for the iTunes apps, or if these are custom apps. Okay, so let's go back and kind of recover really quickly and give you another pass through of the information. When you're creating a new record, you're creating it for one owner and that owner's estate information that you have to have. The owner of the estate is somebody that owns all the properties and assets, and it might be a couple. For example, Mr. and Mrs. Jones or something like that would be the estate, or you can actually have the name of the estate. You'd put in the address and so forth. Using the navigation, you're navigating portal records and the primary record, or the main screen. If you're going back to the main screen, that's where the tutorials are located. The next one is the do action buttons, and as you'll notice, we went through all this and explained those and how they work. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go in the next video, we're going to go through each individual pop-over screen, and we're going to explain this a little bit more in detail if we need to, as far as how you put information in. Even though it's flagged, I'm going to go through each one so you don't have any guesswork about it. And then we're going to go through all of these, and then we're going to talk about the special screens, these screens also, that are assigned, and the one report in the assets report in the application. So let's move on to the next video now, and we'll go ahead and cover all the information in the next video for this portion of the screen. Thank you.